Distinguished members of the academic community, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, thank you, Professor Holland, for inviting me to speak at the Canterbury University in Christchurch today. Being the ambassador of Germany, I am happy that you are the host for the EU Centers Network, NZ. This center contributes a lot to the understanding of Europe, its politics and society. Despite the huge geographical distance, it brings Europe closer to the New Zealand people. As German ambassador, I have the same mission, because Germany is a member state of the European Union, and Germany cannot be thought without the European Union anymore. And that is why Professor Holland was so kind to invite me to talk about Europe's challenges 2017. But first of all, let me say a few words about New Zealand's relationship to the EU and to Germany. Because this is very important to me, I really enjoy my diplomatic mission here. The reality between New Zealand and on the one hand side and Germany and the EU on the other hand side are already very close. Thus, my work can contribute and already exists at a great panel of various relationships. We have strong economic relations between New Zealand and the EU. The EU is the most important import partner for New Zealand and the third most important export partner after Australia and China. New Zealand and the EU are actually working on a free trade agreement to even deepen this relationship. Germany strongly supports these efforts. This year, we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the New Zealand-German Research Agreement. We inaugurated this anniversary with an open ship day on the big German research vessel, the Sonne, in Auckland on January 25. And we will have plenty more events coming up. Last year, the Europe House opened in cooperation with Auckland University of Technology. I could enumerate many more cooperations between, let me just underline, Europe's and especially Germans' admiration of New Zealand with these figures. Each year, almost 500,000 Europeans, and among them 95,000 Germans tourists, come to visit beautiful New Zealand, plus 16,000 under the work and travel scheme. Diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relationship has already quite a long history, even longer than the EU itself. In 1961, the first New Zealand ambassador was accredited to the EU predecessor organization, the European Economic Community. Already in 1953, bilateral diplomatic relations had been established between New Zealand and Germany. The EU delegation in Wellington works in close contact with the member states' embassies. Practically, we, the ambassadors of the European member states, meet monthly in order to coordinate our work. Germany and the EU. Germany is very willing to coordinate closely with our partners and to find common European paths. This applies not only to the work of our Federal Foreign Office, but all European politics. With almost 36 billion New Zealand dollars, Germany contributes the biggest part of the European budget. That is 16% of the whole budget. Germany has been a member state right from the very beginning of the European integration, when it took part in the European coal and steel community, to preserve the new created after World War II peace through the mutual control of French and German coal and steel production. This is not only to bring history to your mind, but it still reflects in the German citizens' opinion about the European Union. Being asked, the most mentioned answer to what is the greatest accomplishment of the EU is peace. Still now, after the financial crisis, the majority of Germans find that we benefit from the EU membership. But my country is not Europe. While Germany has emerged from the financial crisis with even a boost in its economy, with the lowest rate of unemployment since reunification in 1990, and a continuously growing GDP, things look totally different in several other member countries. Spain and Greece have over 40% youth unemployment. Greece is continuously struggling with its budget. Italy has failed to implement necessary reforms on legislative effectiveness. France, Spain, and Greece, countries where less than 10% of the citizens trust their politicians, as polls say. To sum up, European citizens feel real danger to their wealth and security. This fear is fueled by some more upcoming challenges that the EU has to face in 2017. The keywords are Brexit, 16+1, migration, the need for a common foreign and security policy, euro currency, demography, and youth unemployment. I want to illuminate the German perspective of views about these issues. After my lecture, I look forward to listening to your questions and opinions. Challenges 2017, the Brexit. This month, the European Prime Ministers are celebrating 60 years of the Rome Treaties, the European constituent documents. Also in March, the British government probably submits its official notification to withdraw from the EU. The Brexit vote has created many questions to be answered in 2017. How to deal with the UK after it will officially declare its exit? Will the outcome motivate citizens of other member states to consider an exit as well? Or at least seek substantial changes within the European framework, as Commission President Juncker proposed these days? What are we, the EU as a whole, willing to change? There is still a lot of fog in the air. Germany regrets the UK vote. Our clear priority is preservation of cohesion within the EU. For Germany, the EU is not hold for disposal. Speaking at your university, I can assure you that the Brexit is especially deplorable for both the British and the European education sector. British universities have benefited financially from European Union membership. For example, British contribution to the EU 7th Framework Programme for Research and Technological Development that lasts from 2007 to 2013 was 5.4 billion euros. But British universities were allocated 8.8 billion euros. British institutions were equally successful with regard to their applications for European Research Council grants. Since EU member states are the main recipients of funding, and this is tied to political requirements, such as the unhindered movement of persons, the UK will presumably be largely excluded in the future. This is particularly painful in the case of major cooperation arrangements like Horizon, the EU's ambitious research and innovation program, with a budget of more than 75 billion euros. British universities are hoping that special agreements will enable many of the country's close ties with continental Europe to be preserved, which is hard to imagine. Britain's main 205 official cooperative partnerships with German universities alone. And what about British and European students? Erasmus has been a tremendous help for millions of them to study abroad. Without a program, a fairly large proportion of them would have completed their studies without ever setting a foot into a foreign country or university. The new Erasmus Plus program will also offer working people the opportunity to gain experiences abroad. without a lot of red tape. Brexit threatens this freedom of movement in both directions and is likely to erect bureaucratic hurdles.